So with everything going on in Ukraine, obviously there's millions of people fleeing the country, because of the Russian invasion, and we're seeing a warmer welcome to, Ukrainian people into these other countries, such as, was it Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, all these countries, and they're getting these warm welcomes. And there's even countries that are giving, 3-year stays to refugees and stuff. And everybody's talking about, well, isn't this kind of racist that, these white people from a white country that are fleeing war get such a warm welcome? They're welcomed into homes, they get these executive orders basically allowing them to stay for years on end. But then when you have people coming from Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, Africa, like all over Africa, that it's basically extremely stringent on the people trying to get in. And again, America is the only country in the world that lets in the amount of people, like compared to any other country. America lets in the most people in the world, refugee-wise, immigrant-wise, everything per year. Like there's just no other country that can beat America when it comes to that. And so the question, again, with numerous articles from, NPR, Vox, and ABC, all these major news outlets are reporting on it, essentially, is this just racist that they switch up when it comes to white people compared to, black and brown people from across the world?
Well, a lot of tribalism is really rampant in Europe, especially like in Eastern Europe, and like even like Slavic groups in Slavic countries. Like if you look up a list of Google, like they're really, and like the people from those can be fairly antagonistic to each other, especially like
Also,
the older
previous wars and stuff.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of
conflicts.
bad blood like that still present in the culture and like that. And you saying, is it racist? Probably, yeah. Like there's a lot of racism in Europe. Like a few years ago, like a whole stadium openly called like a soccer player like a monkey during the game.
There's people that were like throwing bananas on the field and shit.
Yeah, like it's pretty open and out there. It's not like the U.S. is probably
the most accepting country in the world, which I find funny because everyone in America is like, America's so racist and this and this and this. But I'm like,
it's only certain cities.
Exactly. And it's like, you could also go to like Europe and see how they treat minorities, not only immigration wise, but just in general. And it's like,
yeah, you know how many times, like how many countries, like people, like refugees come and they aren't fully welcomed and they can't even remotely assimilate into the culture the way they need to, and they just end up becoming their own
group. I think like in London.
Like any European country, like that's a problem that lets them in. Like there are some European countries that don't even let them in.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's probably worse than what Chinatown and Koreatown were in the 50s and 60s. It's probably worse than that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying is essentially these countries are very, very strict on immigration. And when it comes to, like I said, Africa and all these Middle Eastern countries, they're like, nah, only a certain amount of people can come in, only a certain amount of refugees, only a certain amount of immigrants like can come into our countries. But then like Ukraine happens and it's like, again, similar situation, people fleeing from war, people, trying to find a better life for their families. And they're just like, come on, we got you. Well, come in. Well, you can stay for at least 3 years. We're handing out food to you when you come to the stations. But then, the black and brown people, it's like,
Yeah, so I looked into that a little bit. If I find it, I'll send it to you. I think that's just Ukraine. Because apparently people that got into Warsaw, they said they were treated fine, and I think they were Africans. I think they were like African students or something like that.
Oh yeah, because I saw that there was like a whole thing of like, they were like leaving African students behind at the trains, and they wouldn't let them get on the trains.
I think one of my friends said he saw a video of a Ukraine soldier being like talking to an African dude and be like, "Hey, Ukrainian, you're gonna fight," because he was like, "Look, I get it, they're desperate, but also." He's not Ukrainian.
He's like, I'm African, bro.
Yeah.
I'm African.
So like the video of like I think it was like a mother and the kids and like a bunch of like I think they were Indian people, basically all black and brown people, like being left behind at train stations. That's not a good look. But also, so like I can respect like the fight of, because what's going on in Ukraine is not ideal at all. I don't think anyone wants that to happen out here in the West unless you're like a Russian
unless you're crazy. Yeah.
But obviously the shit that's going on in Ukraine, bad. Also, how they're treating black and brown people also isn't good, but Russia seems to be the bigger threat to me. But also,
yeah, well, obviously, this is like just taking a step back and looking at immigration as a whole.
Right.
Not like obviously this is like a bigger conflict. There's a literal war going on, and China's potential war as well. So I'm just saying, like looking at this, and because a lot of news outlets are talking about this, and it's becoming a big thing. I'm just like, well, do you think that this is a way of saying like maybe they'll be more lenient in the future, or do you think it's just because of white people?
ooh, that's a tough question. I don't know if I have an answer to that.
Like maybe they'll let more, Africans and Middle Eastern people in the future because they see like, oh, well, maybe.
Oh, I thought you meant letting people out further in the future. Probably not. No, probably not. I don't think
Anything's going to change
nothing
in Europe
in the near
just because
future.
of
Yeah,
Ukraine.
nothing in the near future is going to change until like another 5 to 10 years or something like that. That's when the next time I expect anything like in terms of letting in refugees and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then becoming more progressive, I guess would be the proper word.
I mean,
in
all
terms
we
of
can do
immigration.
basically is just hope, and maybe this is like a turn for the future. But comment down below what you guys think, and if you believe that this is maybe like going towards greater pastures, and maybe this is a new leaf, and Europe's going to be more accepting to not only immigrants but refugees as well. See you guys next time. Peace.